Oh, all right. Well, spooky trees, haunted cornfields often serve as a backdrop in scary stories. But it turns out plants often play a big role in murder mysteries. New York Times best-selling author Marta McDowell talked with producer Susie about her new book that explores the sinister side of gardening.
Well, your book explores the use of garden and horticulture in crime fiction. I'd love to know why you decided to dig into this topic, and my pun was totally intended there.
Well, normally, Susie, I do books that require research in archives. So I go to a library, I'm in a room with big boxes of files and research librarians looking at me to make sure I don't pilfer something. And, then we had this thing called lockdown, and that really was not available. And I came back to this topic. I had written an article about it for a little British garden journal called Hortus. And I thought, I could make a book out of this. And luckily, Timber Press agreed. So off I went.
Okay. Well, why do you think these two go so well together? Gardening and crime, murder even?
Well, you need someone somewhere to put the body.
That's
right.
true.
But also it's that contrast, right? We think of gardens as being something like paradise, and then you have this murder. Well, I always love to read murder mysteries. I came to gardening later. This was kind of a mashup of those two. One day, I think I was reading a book called Mulch. It's a murder mystery by a Colorado author. That turned on the light bulb.
There's something there. One has to wonder if maybe now you walk through gardens with an eye as to where the bodies are buried.
Yes, and what could kill you.
That's true. Oh, a whole plethora of things could kill you. Are there favorite scenes from movies or TV shows that particularly interested you or struck you when you were writing this book?
There are things like, and this goes way back, puppies that, Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch of the West made a big impression. So maybe it started back then.
And did you find when you were researching for people, when they're writing crime mysteries or even making movies or things like that, as far as where the crime happens or bodies are buried, like is there always the rose bushes or is it more often greenhouse mischief?
It varies. So roses are frequent, I think, because roses are popular. Think back to that Humphrey Bogart movie, The Big Sleep, that there's a real orchid conservatory scene there. Orchids are rare. Gardens have a lot of shady corners, it's always sun and shade. So there's that contrast. So all sorts of places.
And anything that really stood out or surprised you when you were researching for the book?
I think the biggest one was Arthur Conan Doyle, who wrote Sherlock Holmes. He did some experimentation on himself with a poison plant, which is, I would call it Carolina jasmine, but it's gelsemium. And so the first thing he actually published was this very short piece in a British medical journal about dosing himself with this poisonous plant as a headache, cure. Sure. So luckily for the history of crime fiction and all you Sherlock fans, he did not poison himself with this experiment.
Also, we should say not recommended for the research process, right?
Yes, don't try this at home. Yes, despite the fact that you will read lots of things in mysteries, don't try it at home. Be careful with what you eat, that you forage. Yeah. Yes.
Good advice. And what's maybe your favorite tidbit you unearthed? Also the pun intended there.
Well, for me, it was the number of mysteries that fit into these various categories. So, there were gardens and plants that provided the motive, that provided the means, that provided the settings. There were gardener suspects, of course, gardener sleuths, and occasionally the gardener did it.
And that's how your book is set up.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. I love this. And I can't wait to now wander through a garden and wonder where all the bodies are buried.
Oh, how fun.
I made you a little tea, my pretty.
Oh, all right.